All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to Weight Loss Without Dieting. My name's Haley Sohn. I'm a nutritionist and weight loss expert. And on this podcast, we talk about losing weight while living your life because that is ultimately what you want is to have freedom around food, to be able to go on vacation, enjoy some indulgence with them, come home, not be 10 pounds heavier, and just live your life, have freedom around food. So that's what we really focus on here. I talk mostly about mindset, rarely about diets, but today we are going to talk about some more specific food things, which is what people are like, I think I want this, but ultimately, usually it doesn't really get you what you want. You really need to focus on your mindset if you're going to lose weight successfully. But that's my soapbox. Okay. I'm done with it. Am going to get into some more food specific items today. But first, I offer free nutrition consultations to give you a roadmap to weight loss success so that you can know this is what is preventing me from losing weight right now, and this is what I need to do in order to lose weight. You can book yours at my website, basicallyitmeals.com. I'll also put the link in the show notes so you can do that. But that is a free consultation to really give you a ton of insight on what isn't working for you right now, what's keeping you stuck at your weight or continuing to gain weight, and what you need to do in order to lose weight. Okay. So I'll put the link here, basically at meals.com. Go book that now. Everyone who does this is super happy that they did it because it's very, very helpful. Okay, getting into it. Today we're talking about secret nutrition facts nobody knows about. I'm going to give you three. These are three that I don't hear very often out there. I hear a lot of this kind of stuff, but these are ones that when I tell people, they're like kind of surprised. Like they haven't really heard this before. So, number one, over a third of Americans over the age of 50 do not get enough protein because once you get over the age of 50, your protein needs increase. They actually go up. So most Americans over the age of 50 don't get enough protein. And that number, that one third number, is much higher amongst women. Okay? So keep this in mind. A woman over 50 has an increased need for protein. And in addition to that, she's likely having some hormonal shifts. And protein is really important for those hormonal shifts, for supporting those hormonal shifts and seeing you through those in a less tumultuous way. So, if you're a female over the age of 50, you need more protein. I can almost guarantee you that more protein is going to help. So that needs to be a focus for you. And in addition to that, I'm not going to go into this one because it's not really one of the ones that I am focusing on for this podcast episode, but women over 50, you also need to realign your fat and your carbohydrate intake. So sugars are really not great for your hormones. Fats are really great for your hormones. Healthy fats, good fats. I'm talking about avocado. I'm talking about olive oil, unheated. I'm talking about coconut oil. I'm talking about um, ghee. Those are great fats to help balance those hormones. Um, and that this like 50 years old right now, they went through the sugar craze of like low fat, low fat craze. It's not the sugar craze, the low fat craze, where we were so fat fearing, we were terrified of fat. And what that really meant was that they took out healthy fats from things and substituted it with sugar. And so, and that's really bad for hormones. And it's certainly not going to be beneficial for that as you get into that 50-ish years and your hormones start to shift. So just knowing that in the back of your mind is really helpful. But ultimately, what we're talking about right now is the protein. So protein is going to be very helpful. Focus on, I love some good solid animal proteins because as one what is he? A cardiologist. He's like world renowned cardiologist. I had the pleasure of speaking with him a couple of times. He's fantastic. And I asked him, I was like, what do you think about animal proteins versus plant proteins for humans? And he said, plant proteins were made for plants, animal proteins were made for animals. We are an animal. We really benefit and metabolize other animal proteins really well. If you have other beliefs, you do you. I'm just saying. So, eggs are fantastic. The egg yolk has all of the nutrients in it because the egg yolk is where the fat is. And so many of these nutrients that we need are fat soluble, which means that they're stored in fat, other animals' fats, other plants' fats. They are stored in the fat. So you have to eat the fat in order to get those nutrients. Egg yolks, eggs and egg yolks, whole eggs is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, here, guys, are fantastic. I do red meat a couple of times a week. I do like clean organic chicken. So one side note, if you have a farmer's market near you, go get to know your farmers. Ask them about how they raise the animals. Ask them about what they're fed. Ask them about their quality of life. These are actually important, not just as a person who cares about the welfare of animals, but because animals that are raised well, that live a healthy life in a healthy environment, are better for you than animals that are in a factory. And I'm not going to go into that either, but think about that because it really makes a lot of sense. And animals that are healthy, living a healthy life, don't need the amount of medications that animals that are living an unhealthy life need. And all of those medications go into the animal and then they go into you when you eat it. So that's just a side note. What I've done is I go to my farmer's market. I know my farmers. I know how they raise their animals. I know how they feed the animals and how the animals, how healthy those animals are. And that's really important to me. I want to know that this animal lived a healthy life and is going to be much more beneficial for me in that regard. So do that for yourself, especially ladies, you know, if you've heard a lot about, I'm just going down this rabbit hole right now, guys. This was not planned. Pay attention to where your protein sources are coming from, okay? If you are interested in doing protein powders, I recommend looking at the labels. You don't want a super long label. You want one that's just a couple ingredients. I found one, and I cannot remember the name of the brand right now off the top of my head. Feel free to ask me. You can message me from this episode and ask me if you want me to send you the link. But I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But it is collagen, it is cocoa powder, and like monk fruit. So it's super clean. There's like a couple of ingredients. It's very, very clean. What you don't want is a ton of really highly processed ingredients that they're trying to extract protein from. You also don't want a ton of soy, especially ladies. You're hitting those hormonal years of menopause, like your 50s. You all of that soy has a ton of like hormone disruptors in it. You don't want that. So go with something super, super clean. And I do recommend collagen as your protein base. Um, so that's a good list of places to start for upping your protein. Shoot for, 30, 50 grams of protein per meal, depending on how much you weigh. But you do need to increase your protein intake as you age. It's very important. Okay, number two. This one I feel like nobody knows. Every time I say this one, people are like, "What? I had no idea. It's not out there at all." You can't burn fat if you're dehydrated. You have to be properly hydrated in order for your body to use fat as fuel. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're intermittent fasting, you have to be properly hydrated. I'm not going to tell you a quantity of water that you need to ingest because I don't necessarily believe in that anymore. I used to. I used to like live and die by this. But what you need to do is check your pee. If it's clear, if it's light yellow, you're properly hydrated. If it's anything more, anything darker, if it has a smell to it, you're not hydrated. You are dehydrated. You need to drink water. When you wake up in a state of dehydration because you just spent the last 8 hours not drinking water and exhaling a ton of water. And your body uses all of that water that you have in your system to like knock out a bunch of processes. So it's just depleted a ton of water. So you wake up dehydrated, make sure you're drinking water when you wake up. If you're a big coffee drinker or caffeinated beverage drinker, that can also flush water out of your system. So just check your pee. That's going to be my hydration um, spiel for you. But you can't burn fat if you're dehydrated. So you need to be checking your pee and making sure that you're properly hydrated. And number three, processed fats like hydrogenated oils, seed oils, they wreak havoc on your metabolism. So you need to watch your processed packaged foods that you're taking in because a lot of them have these really cheap manufactured highly processed oils in them. Um, Cooking more at home can be really beneficial. Just using real fats, real like olive oil. I don't heat mine. Real butter, real coconut oil. Those are fantastic fats. They're not to be feared, in my opinion, and they are low on that processed scale. The other thing I would do there is pay attention to how they make you feel. When I started upping my fat intake, I felt so much better. Like my energy levels go up, my brain fog went down, my I don't have that same crash at like 2, 3 o'clock that I used to, where I would just like want to pass out on my desk. I don't have that anymore. Feel so much better. And I lost a ton of weight. So paying attention to your fats, how they make you feel, where your energy levels are, where your hunger levels are too. Um, Fat can be really beneficial for balancing hormones. So and I kind of said this in number one, but our hormones are influenced by the food that we take in because insulin is a hormone, leptin is a hormone, ghrelin is a hormone. All of those are related to our food intake. Um, so taking in more fat does not influence your insulin like sugar does, like protein does. So more fat can help to balance your hunger hormones and really help you know, okay, I'm actually hungry as opposed to this is just false hunger. So that's huge. Paying attention to those fats is really, really important. All right. That's my food specific soapbox episode for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you have not booked your free nutrition consultation, go to that link and book it now. You're going to love it. All right. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.